Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show presented by Kala, Crazy about literature and arts. A quick information, the third edition of Kala Literature Festival is being organized on 7th and 8th February 2026 in association with the Civil Services Officers Institute, that is CSOI, Vinamar at New Delhi. Those interested to collaborate or partner during the festival may please write to us at kalalitfest@gmail.com. KALALITFEST@gmail.com. Today's episode is brought to you in association with wellness partners Let's Talk. Let's Talk are creating safe spaces through shared journeys, helping people to connect, reflect, and grow together. Now, another quick note, this episode is also being recorded, and the recording will be available on the Kala YouTube channel, Sanjay Chandra 5376, SANJAY CHANDRA 5376. Now, back to the show. Let me introduce to you the moderator of the evening, Vardhan Dharkar.
Namaste.
Vardhan left his corporate career to follow his passions for fitness and creativity. He brings curiosity, warmth, and insight to every conversation and always leaves us with something to talk about. Welcome to the episode, Vardhan.
Thank you.
Now, the guest of the evening. Ayush Kumar is an author, storyteller, and thought leader whose writing reimagines one of India's oldest epics with a fresh, compelling voice. A management consultant turned writer, Ayush brings together strategic insight, narrative depth, and a fascination with human behavior, the same forces that shaped empires, policies, and dynasties in ancient Bharat. His mythological fiction novel, Hastinapur Crumbling, The Battle That Started the War, is a riveting retelling of the Mahabharata, exploring the simmering rivalry between Bhishma Pitamah and Shakuni and the fragile, shifting power of the throne they defend and challenge. Bringing politics, legacy, ambition, frailty, and destiny into sharp focus, Ayush brings familiar characters alive with layered humanity while also introducing new dimensions to a story we thought we already knew. The book has been praised by noted voices, including Dr. Vivek Debroy, Arijit Bishwas, and Shri Gajendra Chaudhary. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show presented by Kala in association with Let's Talk, featuring Ayush Kumar in conversation with Vardhan Dharkar. Over to you both.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjay.
for that.
And namaste to all our viewers in Bharat and outside of Bharat. Welcome to yet another episode of the show. And today we are indeed privileged to have Sri Ayush Kumar on our show, indeed a multifaceted personality. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you for that very kind introduction by Sanjay, sir. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And let's begin our conversation.
Absolutely, sir.
Great. So, from being a management student to running a management institute as a managing director, how has been this journey?
Sir, so the journey has been long, and so one thing that I always tell people is that since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a writer. Everything else has happened along the way. So, since I was five, all I wanted to do, me and my best friend, we would just think of book titles. We would just keep writing and writing and writing. And Then I did my engineering. By the time I did my engineering, I wrote one book, did not get published.
Mhm.
And then I finished my engineering. Then I worked for 4 5 years. In that time, I wrote another book, did not get published.
Okay.
Then my family also encouraged me. They were like, "अब कुछ करो life के साथ." So then I went for my MBA to XLRI Jamshedpur. And then again, because I wanted exposure and because I wanted to sort of get a deeper insight into how the world works, get that work ethic, develop that overview of the world, I worked at KPMG. And now I'm still a student of management education. There are just more responsibilities on my head, but I retain the title of being a student.
Okay.
So it's been an interesting journey. It's been a long journey,
Mhm.
a lot of learning along the way.
Okay. Okay. So, did it help you that you were a management student in your current stint as a managing director?
It did, uh, in many, many ways. One very simple way, I wouldn't even say knowledge, but I would say the way of thinking that comes with it. So, for example, all of the things that I try to do, it always bothers me if they are not in structure. And in any industry, in any field, things are not in structure.
Okay.
In general, we are used to working in an unstructured way.
Mm.
The good thing that has happened is that as long as that lack of structure bothers you, you keep pushing to get things within a predictable format. So
Mm.
then that is what you're always chasing. You are chasing work that is repetitive, you are chasing growth that is repetitive. So that is something that being a management student teaches you, that you
Mm.
want to make life as predictable as possible, because then when it gets unpredictable, you're prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is in addition to, of course, learning very basic things, learning how to interact with people. Because
Mm.
when your peer group is such, when your faculty is such, later on when you are working with bosses, you're working with managers, you're working with clients who are all thorough professionals with decades of experience.
Yes.
So when you get used to that, that also gives you confidence.
Mm.
Even now, when I'm sitting in a meeting, I will try and learn from everybody in the room. But at
Mm.
least you have that your own confidence. कि ठीक है, I also belong here. I also can add to that. So being a management student added a lot of value.
Okay. I think that is very important is to keep learning at every stage of life and from every aspect of life.
Absolutely. That
So,
is always there.
so since you are managing the management institute, that's a more than full-time job. How do you find time to write?
So, sir, in terms of managing NDIM, which is the institute, it's an IP affiliated college. So that is more than a full-time job. The thing is that, like I said, I always wanted to be a writer.
Mm.
So even now I tell people कि बाकी सब हो जाता है. Writing is the only thing that I know how to do properly.
Okay.
So what happens within that is that when you're writing, that is your escape from the world. So you will
Mm.
have days where you get done with work at like 9 o'clock. You're like, चलो, अब सब हो गया, अब
Mm.
बैठ के लिखते हैं.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So I wouldn't even say writing is something. I mean, of course, there will be days, there will be weeks, there will be months where you will not write. But when you're in that writing rhythm and you're moving forward, like even bit by bit every day,
Mm.
so when you have that in your life, then that keeps pushing you.
Mm.
That
Mm.
becomes your escape from everything else. That becomes how you switch off.
Mm. Mm.
So
Okay.
that has been throughout. During my MBA also, you barely find time. But
Yeah.
if I was writing, I was like, नहीं ठीक है, आज भी थोड़ा सा लिख लेते हैं, आज भी थोड़ा सा लिख लेते हैं.
Mm.
Then even when you're working, you're getting home at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night.
Mm.
So a lot of days you will not write. But then फिर आपको वो चीज़ खटकती रहेगी कि 4 5 दिन
Mm.
हो गए कुछ लिखा नहीं है, थोड़ा सा आगे लिखते हैं आज.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So it's just one of those things that you end up looking forward to.
Okay. So if let's say you are too busy and you are in a meeting with many people and some idea clicks in your mind, what do you do? How do you make sure that that idea is not lost?
So for the longest time, I did nothing about it.
Mhm.
Now I put it on my iPhone Notes app as a one-liner or two-liner,
Okay.
or I'll have a WhatsApp chat with myself. I have one
Okay.
WhatsApp chat which is just me.
Hmm.
So I'll put it in that. And again, in a lot of those cases, I will not do anything with it.
Hmm.
So I'll
Hmm.
write down maybe 20 things. Maybe one of them will actually click.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
at least, and sometimes it will also happen that I'll write down two lines. Then I'll go back 4 months later. I'm like, kuch to likha tha, but then it will not make sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll just, if I can think of it, I will put it down in one or two lines.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because that's very important, is it? It should not so happen that in your busy schedule, your ideas are lost. And
absolutely.
as you mentioned that out of 20, maybe one will click, but that
Yeah.
one is important.
अब उसमें भी होता ही है कि writing idea or story idea is one thing. You
Hmm.
will like you will have 100 ideas about 100 things. So you will have ideas about work also which are completely unrelated to right now.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
you'll be in a meeting and you'll be like, this reminds me of this, and this
Hmm.
reminds me of something else which also needs to be done.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
you keep jotting them down and eventually you try and get back to it.
Hmm. Hmm. Perfect. So just now you mentioned that earlier also you had written couple of books and those books did not succeed. They did not get published.
Right.
So what is the learning that you had from those two episodes? And what is it that you changed to make sure that this time your book is not only published, but it is success also?
Very interesting question because I actually have an answer.
Mhm.
So uh, I just to tell you a little bit about myself, I am a self-confessed major horror fan. Horror stories, horror books, horror movies. I'm a major horror fan.
Okay.
Now, two things happened. So the first one I wrote, I still think it's a very good book. The first book
Mhm.
I wrote, I still think it's a very interesting story. At some point, I will publish it, and I think it'll do well also.
Okay.
Second one was okay. Then what happened is that one thing so I spoke to one publishing agent unofficially, very casual conversation.
Hmm.
He told me, Ayush, nobody knows you right now. So nobody is going to pick up a book at a bookstore in a genre that is already very niche by an author that they don't know.
Hmm.
Because he's like, even the most avid reader is going to read about 30, 40, 50 books in a year.
Hmm.
Any book that somebody purchases is a significant time investment for them.
Yes.
When they don't know anything about you or the content or the book or the journey, you have to figure out if they are going to invest that time. People are okay watching mediocre movies because that is going to take up 1.5 hours, 2 hours.
Hmm.
So he was like, या तो topic ऐसा उठाओ where at least people are familiar with the characters.
Mhm.
He didn't say mythology, he just generally spoke.
Hmm.
And so now the other thing that happened, so it's a sequence of very interesting things that happened. When
Hmm.
I was a child, my grandfather, he retired from the Union Public Service Commission. He was member UPSC. He
Okay.
retired, and I was very fortunate. I spent a lot of time with him.
Mhm.
And he used to have जो बी आर चोपड़ा की महाभारत थी.
Hmm.
He used to have the DVD set.
Okay.
So every evening I would sit in his room and we
Hmm.
would watch that.
Okay.
खत्म हो जाती थी, we would start again.
Okay.
And we would discuss it and we would critique it.
Uh-huh.
And he was very open. So like if some character, good or bad, if they did something, he'd be like, ये बेवकूफ है. इसको ये करना
Hmm.
चाहिए. So we would critique it in a lot of depth.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And that gave me a very innate sense of the story of the Mahabharata.
Hmm.
Then I read books also, then I listened to podcasts also. I just absorbed a lot of information on the Mahabharata and I was like, this is a topic that I am comfortable writing about.
Hmm.
So that happened. तो मेरे को था कि चलो ठीक है, this is a topic people can also relate to. And I have enough of a grasp on it philosophically and on the events that I can write about it confidently.
Hmm.
The third thing that happened was that somebody recommended this book to me called Save the Cat. Save the Cat
Mhm.
is a book on screenwriting.
Okay.
It's a very famous book. So I asked somebody, I reached out to this one Australia-based podcaster who wrote horror, who directed horror podcasts. So I reached out to him on Instagram that I'm a big fan. His name is Nikesh Murali, very, very good guy.
Okay.
And I reached out to him that I love your podcast. I am a writer. How do I get better? And he was very kind enough. He replied, he was like, read this book.
Mhm.
So I read Save the Cat, which is a book on screenwriting. And then
Hmm.
I was like, this is interesting because screenwriting is more applicable to how to structure a story than a lot of novel writing books.
Hmm.
So I read that. Then I read a couple of other books on screenwriting. And then I got really into the depth of how do you structure a story from a screenwriting perspective.
Mhm.
So that tells you about the three act structure, that tells you about where to put a twist, that tells you about very intuitive things about storytelling.
Hmm. Hmm.
How does conflict work within a scene?
Hmm.
How do you show,
Hmm.
not tell?
Hmm.
Very basic things, but also very nuanced things. So now, even if I'm watching a movie or I'm reading a book, I'm like, ah, this is the rule that is being followed.
Okay.
So I had to give up a little bit of that ego that I am a good writer.
Hmm.
And I had to go back to saying, I am a student of writing. I have to
Hmm.
learn.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, in terms of the process of structuring a story, in terms of the process of structuring a scene,
Hmm.
the entire thought process changed.
Okay.
And that validation I got because a lot of the people who read the book
Hmm.
wrote back to me and they were like, your scenes are very nicely structured. Some feedback
Hmm.
like that, not exactly that,
Hmm. Hmm.
but they were like, it feels like we're watching a movie.
Okay.
And I was like, that is exactly what I was going for. That means मेरी तपस्या पूरी हुई.
No, I think this is very interesting and very informative because the way you went about writing your book is something which will really help everybody else also to follow a very structured process, the way you have followed in terms of
Absolutely.
what is it that can attract the audience or the readers and how to go about writing it. I think that is very important.
What can attract the audience also, but what are you comfortable with
Yes.
as a subject?
Yes.
And what is it that people, what is a topic where people would want to hear your voice?
Ah.
So, for example, uh, I did a lot of book signings at bookstores,
Hmm.
and obviously the people who come in don't know me.
Yeah.
So essentially, it becomes a little bit of a sales process.
Hmm.
It's and I would always tell them, I was like, look, my job was to write it. Whether you want to read it or not is entirely your call. But my job
Yes.
is to give you the information.
Hmm.
So there, I would talk about this. They would ask me, कि आपने क्यों लिखी? Are you trying to give us a message with the book? Is there a moral to the story?
Hmm.
And I was like, मेरा वो काम नहीं है. मैं qualified नहीं हूँ.
Hmm.
कोई भी moral देने के लिए, कोई भी ज्ञान देने के लिए मैं qualified नहीं हूँ.
Hmm.
My job on page 1 is to take you to page 2.
Hmm.
My job on page 200 is to take you to page 201.
Hmm.
If you are on page 200 and you feel like reading page 201, I have done my job. आपको अच्छा लगता है कि नहीं वो आप you can read you can sit here and read 5 pages and decide. If you want to read the sixth page, you can buy it.
Hmm.
If you get bored, that is also okay.
Hmm.
So even when it was at its early stages, before it had gotten published, so I'd sent
Ah.
it to a friends कि तुम मुझे feedback दो.
Hmm.
So I sent it to maybe like 15, 20 people. कि
Hmm.
feedback दो. And 6, 7 of them read the whole thing, and 6, 7 नहीं ज़्यादा ही मतलब around 10 of them read the whole thing and gave me feedback.
Hmm.
Some of them were like कि भाई बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग थी हम खत्म नहीं कर पाए क्योंकि
Hmm.
लाइफ गॉट इन द वे.
Hmm.
मैंने कहा ठीक है अब मुझे ये बताओ वेयर डिड यू स्टॉप.
Hmm.
वेयर एवर यू स्टॉप्ड was a weak point because life was allowed to get in the way. मुझे वो बताओ, मैं वो फिक्स करूंगा फिर. So going to that level of depth, which we do with all other things that we do. When we are at work, we go to enormous depth.
Hmm.
You, sir, with the decades of experience you have, you know this better than anybody. When we are at work, we go to enormous depth. When we are with family, छोटी छोटी चीजें होती हैं. With medical things, we go to a lot of depth. Art and this is not even art. Craft को हमने उतना लाइसेंस दिया हुआ है कि ठीक है, फीलिंग फीलिंग में हो रहा है, जो हो गया. So I was
Hmm.
like, नहीं, फिर if it is a story, then it has to do justice at
Hmm.
every part.
Hmm. No,
So
very interesting, and I think the way the process that you have followed, I think your experience as a management student and management consultant, I think has played a role.
I think it's both ways. My journey as a management student has also played a role, and I was able to be a management student like that because I'm also that way.
Yeah, it's a push-pull effect.
It's a push pull.
Oh, good, good, very. Because many of the authors who have appeared on the show, one of the feedback that I keep getting is that they have written a book, but they are unable to connect with the readers, and they are unable to maybe compel the reader to buy the book. And I think that is where you have succeeded.
सर, मैं आपको अगर बहुत ऑनेस्टली एक ब्लंट चीज बताऊं, तो क्या है कि बुक राइटिंग, especially in India, for
Hmm,
99.9% of the authors, is not a
hmm,
money making exercise. You are not going to
hmm,
make money.
hmm,
There will be one Chetan Bhagat who will make money with it. Everybody else, जैसे मैं लिख रहा हूँ, मुझे पता है कि आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू मेक मनी विद इट, दैट इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट माई लाइफ.
hmm,
राइट, वी डू इट एज अ वे ऑफ क्रिएटिवली एक्सप्रेसिंग आवरसेल्व्स. तो जब पब्लिश हो गई, देन आई वाज लाइक, नाउ व्हाट?
hmm,
सो आई स्पोक टू फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली, एंड दे वर लाइक कि नहीं, इसकी ब्रांडिंग करते हैं, ये वो. एंड आई वाज लाइक,
hmm,
देखो, मेरे को ना सेल्स समझ आता है.
hmm.
बिकनी चाहिए, लोगों के हाथों में पहुंचनी चाहिए.
Yeah,
मेरे को वही समझ आता है. सो
yes.
माय गर्लफ्रेंड, आई एम गेटिंग मैरिड नेक्स्ट ईयर, शी वुड से टू मी, शी वुड टीज मी विद दिस. शी वाज लाइक, ये मैनेजमेंट वगैरह तो गलत आ गए,
Hmm.
आपको होना चाहिए था खजूर की दुकान पे. चलना चल रहा है कि नहीं चल रहा. So I would measure success that way. So with the book also,
Hmm,
writing the book is the easiest part.
hmm, hmm.
Because anybody who is an author, writing a book is the most solitary exercise. आप अकेले बैठ के,
Yeah,
writing a book is going to take you 50, 100 hours.
yes.
If you're writing a book, you're the kind of person who enjoys being by themselves. 50, 100
Hmm,
घंटे.
hmm.
Book को बेचना is a highly social act.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have sat at bookstores, I have sat at book fairs, I have spoken to people about it. मैं खुद जो अपनी बुक के बारे में बोलता हूँ वो रिफाइन हुआ है. आई हैव फाउंड वेरी स्ट्रेंज ऑडियंसेस विच आई डिड नॉट नो एग्जिस्टेड.
Uh-huh.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल, 12, 13-year-old children love it.
Okay.
I did not write it for them,
Uh-huh.
or not in my mind.
Yeah.
It has happened with me where I was at a bookstore and this child came with his mom, 12-13 साल का लड़का,
Hmm.
and he saw the book and he bought 2, 3 other books. And the mom
Hmm.
was also like, ये किताबें खरीदता रहता है. And I was like, it's okay, आप खरीदो ना, मैं भी वैसा ही था.
Hmm.
So the child would be like something something something, and the mother would be like, चलो ठीक है, and the child would also be like, चलो ठीक है, अगली बार देख लेंगे.
Hmm.
And I was standing with a friend and I was like, ये बच्चा वापस आएगा.
Hmm.
So the child went
Hmm.
and 5 minutes later came back. He was like, दे दो वो भी.
Okay.
So it is, जो actually बोलते हैं, it is hand to hand combat. It
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
one of those things कि मैं तो क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स ही हूँ, मैंने लिख दिया, अब दुनिया को खरीदना है कि खरीदे. That
Hmm.
works for a lot of people.
Hmm.
But मुझे ये था कि it has to reach the hands of maximum people.
Yeah.
And what can I do to ensure that that happens?
Hmm. Hmm.
सो जो रीडर का कनेक्ट वाला पार्ट है, अगर आप दुकान पे बैठ के अपनी किताब को बिकते हुए देख रहे हो,
Hmm.
तभी आपको अपनी अगली बुक के लिए समझ आएगा.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is a very grounded, क्योंकि there is no PR firm in that I took. There is
Mm.
no any of that. So it was a very grounded process. But 1500 copies sold.
Okay.
वो भी एग्जैक्ट नंबर है मेरी किसी एक्सेल शीट पे.
Mm.
1500 something copies sold to
Mm.
people that I do not know.
Yes. Yes.
फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली को तो आप अलग डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देते हो, बट
Mm.
1500 plus copies sold to people that I do not know
Mm.
with no paid social media advertising,
Mm.
because I do not know how to do paid social media advertising.
Mm. 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 I think what you have achieved is really significant and very important. And I think maybe this is a one lesson which other authors also have to imbibe and act upon to make sure that what they have written reaches the readers and they buy that book.
मतलब I kept my KPI such. See, I have other friends also. They were like कि I was like कि so some friends reached out कि हमें publish करना है और करना है, तो मैंने कहा एग्जैक्ट तुम्हारा गोल क्या है.
Hmm.
So some of them would say and they would be very honest. They were like हमें छपवानी है, हमें हार्ड कॉपी चाहिए जो हमारे हाथ में हो.
Hmm.
मैंने कहा ठीक है, तो अगर आपका वो गोल है तो फिर अकॉर्डिंगली बात करते हैं.
Hmm. Hmm.
सम पीपल हु आर लाइक कि हमें इसके बेसिस पे ब्रांड पर्सनल ब्रांडिंग करनी है.
Hmm.
ठीक है, देन दैट इज अ कॉन्वर्सेशन.
Hmm.
मेरा तो केपीआई सेल्स था.
Yeah, very
मैं
clear.
मेरे को बाकी केपीआई मेरे को समझ नहीं, हाउ विल आई नो दैट आई हैव दैट ब्रांडिंग इज सक्सीडिंग.
Hmm. Yeah,
मैंने कहा
correct.
पैसा पैसा तो मैं किसी किताब से भी नहीं बना रहा.
Hmm.
अगर सेल होगी मेरे को एटलीस्ट पता है कि किसी के घर में पड़ी हुई है.
Barabar. Correct. Perfect. Very interesting and very informative. So now coming to this book,
Hmm.
Hastinapur Crumbling, the
जी
battle that started the war.
यस.
Is that why did you select these two particular characters, the Bhishma Pitamah and Shakuni? Why not something else or someone else? Like maybe popularly it could have been Arjuna and Sri Krishna or something like that.
सर अर्जुन और श्री कृष्ण का कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं है ना.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you, when I watched the BR Chopra wala,
Hmm.
and again, so BR Chopra started my journey as it did for everybody. So both of these characters are very interesting because
Hmm.
both of them have enormous shades of gray which are
Hmm.
not captured.
Hmm.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे अगर भीष्म पितामह का भी हम देखें, सो वन वेरी फेमस क्रिटिसिज्म इज दैट व्हेन द्रौपदी चीरहरण वाज हैपनिंग भीष्म पितामह डिड नॉट स्पीक.
Yeah.
बट अगर आप थ्रू आउट द स्टोरी देखो, भीष्म पितामह इज अ वेरी पैसिव कैरेक्टर.
Hmm.
he takes the he takes the pratigya, he takes the oath कि I will not marry and I will not bear children. But after that he is just, his job is to maintain the status quo,
Hmm.
and that is his only job. His job, he does not care who wins, his job is to maintain the status quo. मुझे राजगद्दी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दी गई है टू प्रोटेक्ट द राजगद्दी, आई विल डू सो.
Hmm.
दैट इज वन. एंड द अदर इज जैसे व्हेन आई वाज थिंकिंग अबाउट शकुनी,
Hmm.
तो द पॉपुलर नैरेटिव अबाउट शकुनी इज कि बिकॉज हिज सिस्टर वाज मैरिड टू अ ब्लाइंड मैन, शकुनी
Hmm.
wanted to take revenge
Hmm.
at a very personal level, and I make no claims because the book is my interpretation. But at a very personal level मुझे लगा गांधार इज कांदाहर अफगानिस्तान,
Yeah.
हस्तिनापुर इज इधर.
Yes.
So I will, and the kingdom of Gandhara has always been very prosperous because it forms the frontier of India
Hmm.
with the Hindu Kush mountains. So I was always like, he is the king of Gandhar.
Hmm.
उसकी सिस्टर की इंसल्ट हुई, वो आदमी 20 25 30 साल यहाँ के बैठा रहा
Hmm.
कि मैं 30 साल बाद आई विल टेक रिवेंज.
Hmm.
वो
Yes.
मेरे को एट अ पर्सनल लेवल वो मेरे को नहीं जमा. सो
Hmm.
आई thought about it also, I read about it also, I spoke to people about it also.
Hmm.
So starting में आपने इंट्रोडक्शन में बोला था डॉक्टर बिबेक देब रॉय, ही इज नो मोर नाउ. I went to his office in Niti Aayog and I met him. He passed away last year around Diwali. Very, very sweet person.
Hmm.
I mean, he was. when he passed away, he was chairman of the National Economic Advisory Council to the PM
mm,
and very distinguished person. But
mm,
he sat with me for 15 minutes and he only asked me questions about myself because
mhm,
he was genuinely interested,
mm,
which speaks more to him than about me.
mm,
So I spoke to him also, ki, and then the conclusion that I reached
mm,
was शकुनी को भी इस बात से नहीं फर्क पड़ता था कि कौरव जीते या पांडव जीते.
mm, mm,
Till Hastinapur was strong, Gandhar would remain a vassal state of Hastinapur.
mm,
If Hastinapur was weakened, then Gandhar can become stronger.
mm,
So, in my mind, Shakuni's goal was not कि कौरव जीते हैं या पांडव जीते हैं. His goal was that if there is war, if there is fracturing of the dynasty,
mm,
then Hastinapur automatically weakens.
mm.
So, on the one hand, you have somebody whose only goal is preservation of the status quo,
Yeah.
and on the other side, you have somebody whose only goal is disruption of the status quo. वो जो philosophical conflict है, that is what
Mm.
I wanted to capture.
Okay. Okay. Very
Because
interesting.
these are the two characters who are essentially making the decision at a very high level or their actions at a very high level, which
Mm,
influence those who are actually participating in the war.
mm. Yes. Yes. I agree. And they both played a very influential role.
Absolutely. जो next मैं लिख रहा हूँ, which is going to be published in 2026,
Mm-hmm.
is the Mahabharata from Kunti's perspective.
Okay.
And उसमें भी मेरा ये था, the question that I kept, because I didn't find anything very very good about Kunti. There are books, but मुझे था कि in terms of introducing Kunti to an audience, how do you do it? तो कुंती में मेरा पर्सपेक्टिव ये था कि Kunti is basically somebody who, right from when she was a child,
Mm,
has never had a home.
mm,
All she wants is a home.
mm,
When she was a child, she was left with Rishi Durvasa.
mm,
After that, she was married off. She was married off. She was in a palace for a very short time. Then Pandu takes sannyas and they move to the jungle.
mm,
Then they're in the jungle. Then they come back.
mm,
Then they come back and then again they're off in the jungle. So she is just somebody who wants to go home.
mm.
वो जो conflict होता है, that is in every character's life. That conflict that exists is what I wanted to capture.
Okay. Okay. So that is one book that you are publishing in next year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other plans?
अभी ये हो जाए, आई एम ऑल्सो वर्किंग ऑन दिस अदर पीस ऑन पब्लिक स्पीकिंग.
Okay.
सो अभी दीज आर द टू आई एम वर्किंग ऑन. आइडियाज बहुत हैं बट आई ऑलवेज
Mm.
फील कि पहले इनको खत्म कर लो.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Put the,
agree.
put the ship out into the sea before you start building the next one.
Next one. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. So, any plans of making an OTT serial or something like that?
I don't know how to.
Okay. You
I
will
hope,
find ways and means of doing that.
I hope so. I would love to because
Okay.
so every time I've written anything, I've written it in terms of how it would play on screen.
Hmm.
बट उसको
And
स्क्रीन
that's
पे
why I'm asking that question.
हाँ, मेरी कोर कॉम्पिटेंसी नहीं है वो.
Okay. Okay. So, Sanjay ji, do we have time for the rapid fire?
Yeah, another 2.5 minutes.
Perfect. So, Ayush, we have a rapid fire round, and I am very sure that you are going to enjoy the rapid fire round.
I have no doubts.
Perfect. So, the last book that you have read.
Last book that I have read, I'm currently reading this book by this author, which is about the history of magic and illusions in India.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
The one thing that you dislike about Delhi.
the air, the traffic.
Okay.
That's
And
two
the
things.
one thing that you like about Delhi.
I've grown up in Delhi. This is my home. I love every inch of it.
Okay. So, what does Mahabharata teaches you and what does Ramayana teaches you?
Ramayana teaches you how to be the perfect human. Mahabharata teaches you that there exist no perfect humans.
Perfect. And the last question. The character you love the most in Mahabharata.
Shakuni.
Perfect. Congratulations. So you have won 10 out of 10. And with that, we come to the conclusion of our interesting conversation. I really loved having this conversation. And now back to Sanjay for taking it forward.
So thank you, Vardhan, and thank you, Ayush. It was great listening to you. And, a lot of things resonated with me also as a writer. I also keep, just write one or two lines. And there are so many subjects running around that after 3 months or 4 months, when I look at them, I don't remember what I was going to talk about. So
Yes.
that was really wonderful. And that was Ayush Kumar. Do read his book, Hastinapur Crumbling, and share your thoughts. And that's it for today's episode of the show, brought to you by Kala in association with our wellness partner, Let's Talk. If you missed any part of the conversation, the episode will be available on Kala YouTube channel at Sanjay Chandra 5376. And so see you next time. Till then, take care and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Thank you all very much. Bye bye.
Thank, thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Bye.
Bharat. Thank you so much, Sanjay ji. It was a pleasure.